Hello my lovely ravens, welcome back to another video. Today I want to show you how I color hair. I had this request from one or a few of you and I want to show you how I do it. So I will give you examples in Karron's books and Hanna Karlzon books. Both very different styles. This one basically already gives you a guideline on how to color what and where, and this one is completely blank, as in it's only line work and no shading. So let's go to the top-down view and I'll show you how I color my pages. Okay, so over the time that I've been coloring, I have done quite a bit in the Karron books and not so much in the Hanna Karlzon books, but I do have two examples from the Karlzon books and quite a few in the Karron books. Now, I've only been coloring since September, and this is the way I like to color hair. There are other options available. There are other ways to do this. So if you like the way I color hair, keep on watching. Or if you just want to learn something, that's fine too. Now, the Hanna Karlzon images, for example, this one, does not have any guidance on where to do the shading and where to do the highlights. So that is one of the things that I would like to show you. As you can see, this one is colored with a teal, and I also added some blues, but I left the black lines intact for this one. Now if I open this one, a similar color scheme. However, I went over the black lines with a blue gel pen, which makes a completely different look. But there is one principle, and that there's shadows, highlights, and a midtone. That is the same for all the hair that I color. So let's have a look at a few of the Karron pages. This is black hair. However, black hair can have different undertones. So you can have black hair with blue, you can have black hair with a purple or with a red. In this case, it is purplish, bluish, magenta, something rather. And I added black, and then I left the white for the highlight. I added a magenta and a dark purple. And that is how I got this color. It is black with a different color undertone. For this hair, this is golden hair. So the highlight would be white and yellow. And then I will go in with a mid-tone brown and then a dark brown for the shading. This is one of my recent ones. This one is not finished yet. I will finish that in an upcoming live stream. This is mainly alcohol markers for the hair. So I started with a light brown. Then I went in with a mid-tone brown, and then for the shading I used a pencil on top, which is a dark brown, but I also added the purple. You can see shades of purple shining through ever so slightly, and the reason I did that is because it showed up in her skin and I started using purple. So I used it in her hair as well, which gives a little bit more dimension to her hair. This one is mainly a light orange, then a coppery orange, and then a dark brown. This is marker and then a pencil on top, which is what I like to use most of the time. However, in the Karlzon books, that's not possible because it's double-sided. This main color is a mossy green. So I started with a mossy green marker, and the shadow is a dark brown pencil. So that's only two colors there. This one is different again. So I started laying down blues, and then a black for the shadows, and then also a magenta within that color scheme, and I left some white as highlights, and I added sparkle. So it sparkles a little bit. It looks like galaxy hair basically. So there's another option there. This is a like mid-brown kind of color. I started with a light brown, then with a medium tone brown I went in, and this is a dark brown again. And for the highlights from the lamp, I added some yellow just in some spots. This is one of my favorite pages. I love this one. So the base color is a light teal. As you can see, I have been going in with a lot of light first and then darks. So a light teal for the highlights, then a darker teal, and almost a very deep blue, almost the same color as I used in the background for the shading. And what I did with this one as well is over all the black lines I went over with the darkest tone, so it gives a little bit more dimension to the hair and it's not just black lines. Again, an almost blonde hair, and again I went over the black lines with the darkest color, so it's not just black lines. And the lightest color is a very light yellow, then a mid-tone brown, and then a darker brown. I will show you where to add the highlights and where to add the shading. So this is a very soft one, which is only with pencil. So this is a mid-tone brown and a darker brown for the shading. And then for the fairies, I used a yellow highlight. And this is a medium to dark color, a medium brown for the basing, and then almost like an orangey brown for the mid-tone, and then a dark brown for the shading. So let's pick a page from a Karlzon book and from a Karron book, and then I will be with you to show you how I like to color in these books and the Karlzon books as well, and how different that might be to, or actually similar as well. Different and similar it might be when you color hair. Two similar facing images in Christine Karron and Hanna Karlzon, and flowy hair for both of them. This one does have a braid, and I wanted to include a page with a braid just so you can see how I would shade that one. This one doesn't have a braid. I couldn't find any pages with a braid in there in the hair in the Karlzon books. It does not really matter because the shading principle applies to both. So yeah, I'm gonna start with this one. This is based with alcohol markers. This one will be just pencils. So let's start with this one. Let's say that this one would have a light pink base and then an overall pink appearance in hair color. I would grab my swatch sheets and have a look at what I've got. I could go with pale pink, which is very, very light, but I also could go with a pinkish orange, which is a little bit on the darker orange side, pink side, not orange, but will probably be okay. But if I want to keep it a lighter feel, I should definitely go with that one. Yeah. So seeing this will be a very soft page, I will probably go with a pale pink for the highlights, just to be on the safe side as well. I could even go with a Deco Peach or Cosmos. So this is the Shuttle Art 120 set. If you have the same set, you know what colors I'm talking about. But I think these will be a little bit, so these are kind of mid-tones, and they will be a little bit too dark for what I want to go for today. So pale pink it is. I do have a light pink as well, probably also because I was just covering that and I just saw it. Light pink or ice pink? Ice pink is almost a little bit more on the purple side. So ice pink would probably be nice to go with a purple as well. So let's try that one. When you are coloring with alcohol markers in any coloring book, make sure you put a sheet of paper behind here. I always use 120 GSM paper double, like two sheets of it, just to be on the safe side. So I'm just gonna color her entire hair with this ice pink. Near the hairline, I would like to flick it in a little bit so it kind of would blend in with the hair, with the skin tone, I mean. So I have colored her entire hair just with one marker, and you can already see that with Christine Karron's books, she has done the shading for you, so it's easier to follow. I can see I missed a spot here. So it will be easier to follow. So if you don't have alcohol markers, you can apply what I am going to do in the Hanna Karlzon books to these pages as well. So whilst I'm going to let this dry, I am going to work on a Hanna Karlzon page. And we picked this one. And I was thinking for this one to do her hair purple, like Queen of the Ocean kind of thing. She's got this trident, and yeah, I think that would look good. So in order to do purple, we need to select a few colors that are within that color scheme. So in order to do purple for her main hair, I would obviously pick a purple. This is a very dark purple. This is Mauve 249 by Polychromos. Then I would pick a lighter purple, or even a pinkish magenta-ish color. It will still be mainly purple though, I can tell you that. And I'll probably leave the highlight white, and then purple will be our darkest color. That means that it will probably be a little bit more on this side. So instead I will pick this one. Mauve will be our darkest color, and then purple violet will be our medium tone, and then white will be our highlight. So for this, I will start with the darker shade. So wherever I can see a shadow, this is the easy part. Wherever you can see a shadow, this is where you're gonna shade to start with. And just fan it out ever so slightly. Go with the direction of the hair. And you can see that this strand ends here, so I would shade there as well, because that is where a shadow lies. And then if you follow that along, this is where another shadow is. Follow that along again. And this is where another shadow will be. Make that a little bit longer. Still shading underneath that flower crown. Then we can see that there are some highs and lows, so some mountains and valleys. So the valley would probably be here. This would be a mountain. Mountain, a valley, another valley here, and then another valley here. Basically wherever the hair dips, that's where you add the shading. Then we add a slightly lighter color there. And we leave a little strand of light, or white in this case, for the highlight. Gonna go in with a darker purple again to burnish that a little bit more to make it darker. And there we have one strand of hair done. And you're going to continue that until you're done. So continuing here with the valley, with the shading there, and we have a pretty long peak here. And then we have another valley. So the valley ends where the strand ends, basically, for this one. And shading behind that trident. Adding in that lighter shade. And then going in with the dark again. And you can even push the shadows even more. With it still being a purple hair tone, by adding a blue or even a black to the shadows. Can you see here that it's already a lot darker? There we have it. Personally like to do that because I like to push my colors a little bit more. If you look at this one, you can see that there's a darker shade there, but I could even go in with a darker blue to make more shading there. This image is finished, so I won't be doing that here, but you can see that dark blue in here. That is that darker blue that I'm talking about. I could add that to the hair as well to make it even more dramatic. So off camera, I will completely color her hair, and then I will show you the result with the black line still intact, and then I will go over with a gel pen in the color purple to show you the effect of it. So in the meantime, this has dried. I'm going to put my pencils aside for the other page. So this is all dry now. You can see you really need your sheets in between, and this actually ended up quite a bit more vibrant than I thought it would be, but that is okay. That is okay. Now with the same Polychromos pencils, I'm going to add some shading to her hair. So I want to go in with at least this magenta. I think that is a very nice color, and perhaps let me see. I think a dark purple would be nice for the shading. But a blue would probably be nice as well. So this is Helio Blue Reddish, and this is Magenta. I want to keep it a bit on the lighter side. I can probably go with a middle purple pink there. So no magenta, but middle purple pink. So what I like to do, we already have the highlight, which is the pink. So now I would like to go in with this middle purple pink, which is the medium tone, and go in from the shadows, but flick it out a little bit further. So we can already see, so where you see all the shading, that is where you're going to shade this hair. Karron has made it very, very easy for us to shade this hair, or hair in general, because it's already done for you. So if you want to start with hair and coloring hair, this is a very nice place to start. See a bit more shading around that flower. And then with a blue, I'm going to push those shadows even further. So I'm not going to go all the way out with that blue. Have a very light hand when you do this. That will be definitely the way to go. Don't go too heavy in at first. You can always make it darker. It's very hard to lighten it up. So that is how I would shade around the braid. You can set, or the plait, however you want to call it, braid, plait. Same but different, right? You could even go in with a lighter shade now, like a pink meadow lake, and fan out that magenta a bit more. And this is completely optional. You can go in with a colorless blender. What this does is it evens out that pencil. And it makes it blend in very nicely. Now you don't have to do this. You can do this. It's not mandatory. So the colorless blenders I like to use, and I will link everything that I've used in the description box below, are the CCFoud food, I'm not quite sure how you pronounce that, colorless blenders, and they work very nicely with Polychromos and with Woomer pencils, and those are two brands that I really like to use. If you want to have 10% off Woomer pencils, I will leave that in the description box below as well. Now, as it comes to the braid, I'm doing the exact same thing. So I'm gonna go in from the base again, and then fanning that out, leaving a strand of that white there, because that is our highlight. And then going in with that blue. And with that lighter color, pink. And then even with that blender if you really want to. And then we have one part of the braid done, and then you continue on with the rest of it. So with Christine Karron, it's very simple, like I said, but what I did here is not any different to what I did in the Hanna Karlzon page. Just in the Hanna Karlzon page, you need to find your highlights and find your valleys and mountains, and yeah. So that is it for that part of the hair and the braid. And then for this part, you do the exact same thing. You follow the hair, because you can see all the dark lines. And then here as well. So that is that magenta again as well. So in the middle of that magenta, I'm gonna go in with a blue and then fanning that out, because that would be the darkest point. And there's a strand of lighter there, so I will leave that light. There we go. And then with that pink, you can push it even further. And there we have it. So the main gist of this hair is still pink, but you have interesting highlights in the same color family, so it doesn't clash too much. So if you want to experiment with what looks good together, you can take a piece of paper, just gonna fold it so it won't bleed through to the other side. Let's say that you want your main hair to be yellow, right? And your main hair to be brown. Oops, other way. These are different hairs, okay? Different hairs. And you pick the lightest of everything. And your main hair to be an aquamarine, for example. I pick the wrong side of the marker every time. Like I did with the Mermaid. I've just shown you the pink there, so I won't be showing that. So in order to make this work, you go with the same color in the color family. So yellow, orange, red. I wouldn't go too crazy on the red, but if you really wanted to, you could make flame hair and go that way. So I would use orange next. If you want a reddish tone hair, or like a yellow gold hair, orange, and then a brown. But I would keep it subtle and go with like burnt sienna. So you're overlapping the colors slightly. I'm gonna go back with that orange. And you can build colors, you know. You don't have to, you know, do everything in one go. It takes time. Take your time. There we have like a yellow kind of hair. With this hair, this would be the middle tone. Keep the light brown as a highlight. And then with the dark brown, or even with a black if you wanted to, you add the shading. And this way you can see what looks good. For the teal, you grab a mid-tone and perhaps a dark blue. And that way you have that hair. Now I'm not doing this perfectly, it's just for demonstration purposes. If you want to add like a galaxy kind of effect to hair, you can. I do have a little example of that in Magical Dawn. Now this is not necessarily hair, but it can almost be seen as hair. So if you have a strand, let's say that, my pencils are rolling. Let's say that this is the strand of hair, right? You can start with a dark blue. Now this is by no means perfect, again, like I said. And then you can go in with the teal. And let them overlap, because that is how you get that nice gradient. I'm just doing this very, very fast. And then perhaps you can go in with a pink, because pink and blue make purple. So you have that slight overlap. could go in with a magenta. And then from there you could go in with a dark blue again, because the dark blue would then sign up with that magenta and that would look nice. So that is how you could make, that's basically how I did this. But obviously darker colors and more burnished. How you could make galaxy hair. And if you really wanted to, you could leave this as the highlight and then add stars with white gel pen. Now, I am going to finish this one off camera and finish the other page off camera as well. I think I've shown you enough examples for now, and then I will show you how I would add extra details to make it pop a little bit more. Before I move on, I just remembered that I want to show you something else. If you want to color this entire page with alcohol markers, you can. You grab a darker pink, so what have we got? Light violet will probably tie in with that bluish purple color, and then we have magenta, purple, violet. I'll probably go with heather violet. So you could fan this out. And fan that out that way. Then with that light purple, it was ice pink. Yes, it was ice pink. You're gonna go in again whilst the marker is still wet, and you're gonna go back into that darker pink. And then with this one, I'm going to add that shading. Now this is a bit more fiddly and takes a little bit more control from your side. But I guess it's not too scary once you get the hang of it. So I guess it's a little bit darker. You can go over this a little bit with that light pink, and it will lighten it up a little bit. But yes, it definitely gives a different effect than that. But that is another way to shade hair. Now, I'm going to continue with the pencil. I will go over this as well. And I'll be back with you whenever I'm done with my pages. Okay, with both images, I'm at the point where I can add extra details. So as you can see, they're both shaded like I showed you before. And even the part with the marker, the alcohol marker, it turned out a little bit darker, but I'm not too mad about it because it kind of recedes anyway. So with the mid-tone for this one, which is this magenta or middle purple pink color, I am going to add some extra details. I want a sharp point for this so I can add that detail properly. So anywhere I can see there's like a separation of the hairs, this is probably the easiest part to show. See here, there's a separation of the hair of the whole strand. So I'm going to add a line there. Just to set it apart from the rest. Now again, you don't have to do this. This is completely optional, but I like to do this to give it a bit more of something. I guess what I'm trying to say is I want to outline all the individual strands, or parts of the hair at least. So this is an individual part as well. Now this hair turned out a lot darker than I expected it to turn out into, but that's okay. I'm still happy with it. If I wanted this lighter, I should have gone for a lighter base color. So yeah, keep that in mind. If you want really light hair, go for a really light base color. But again, I'm not mad about it. So, like I said, again, you don't have to do the outlines. I like to do them just to make it all a little bit more crisp. And you can also do this with another color if you wanted to. Now I've done the outlines, I can lighten her hair up a little bit more. So because the pink is still just marker and no pencil, I can still go over with a white and lighten that up. See the difference in that and that? See that difference in those two? So it's still pink, but very, very light. And there we have this one. So with the white added, it added quite a bit of softness. So I really like how this turned out. It turned out to be a bit more on the purpley pink side, but I'm okay with that. So let's move on to the other one. So this is one way to add those lines. Now, so this is what this one looks like before I add gel pen. However, this looks fine, but with gel pen added, it will look a little bit different. So right now the lines are black, but we will add purple. And with the purple I'm going to go with a very close to the overall purple color. So I have no idea what color this is. Is this by number? No, it really is not. So this is one of the Languo gel pens, and of course you can get any purple gel pen. I like to use Languo ones. They come in big sets, or I say big sets, but sets of 10, and you can go by color. And if you add a blob of putty or blue tack or kneaded eraser at the back, it flows a little bit better. So let's add that to this image. Can you see how different the purple looks from the just plain black lines? So I'm just gonna go continue this for the entire hair and then I'll be back with you. There we go. This is how this one turned out and I love that effect. Now, this is how I like to color hair. There are many, many other ways on how to color hair and there are lots of tutorials online as well. However, this is like how I like to work with hair in these two books in particular, because these two books are the ones with the most heads and hair in them. Anyway, I hope you liked this tutorial and please let me know in the comments down below if you would like to see any other tutorials from me. I would like to thank you all so much for watching and see you all in the next one. Bye bye.